Motivating rhythm of life. Motivating rhythm of life.
And then once I decided to start DJing, it was easy for me to get on as a DJ because I knew all the promoters because I was rapping in all these clubs. So I'd say to the promoter, hey, let me DJ. And they're like, what, you DJ? I'm like, yeah, here's a mixtape. And they'd listen to the mixtape and their minds would be blown. We're like, we had no clue that you could play DJ like that. Wow. Because I always had great taste in music, like underground, forward thinking, innovative. I could mix, I learned to mix on belt drive turntables, so I had to cut it in and be really quick because there was no pitch control. So when I got on a pair of Technics, it was like butter. It was so simple. It was so easy. It was like easy. So I could mix really well straight away. So I started giving people these like promoters, these mixtapes, and straight away they're like, yeah, you can warm up for this DJ and that DJ. So I started doing that in the late '87, and I also put on my own parties called Fantasy. I started off, these parties were in someone's flat, in a block of flats in a housing estate. And they started off like that, 100 people in a flat, stressing out all the neighbors. And then I moved it into a nightclub in February 1988 called HQ in Camden Lock, Camden Town. And it was probably the first straight house music club in a legal nightclub. So I made that ground for myself, and I pushed myself, got DJing. By the time I got to the spring of 1988, I'm DJing in all these clubs. I'm playing in illegal warehouse parties and smashed the hell out of it. So people were like, whoa, this guy's amazing. And then getting on the mic and rapping as well. So I weren't just a DJ. I was a DJ who could get on the mic and kill it on the mic as well. So all of a sudden, by summer '88, I'm one of the biggest DJs in the southeast of England, and getting gigs, playing up in the Hacienda in Manchester in late '88 and stuff like that. So, my trajectory as a DJ was very, very quick. It took me a year. And then by '89, I'm DJing in Amsterdam and Berlin. By 1990, I'm doing remixes for like MIDI Rain and stuff like that, and my music starts to get out there a bit more. I had a couple of tracks on Energy DJ's album in 1990, early 90. One remix that I did for Trevor Fung, and my own project under the name Unity 2 with a track called Free South Africa that I did with a buddy of mine who's like a reggae toaster. So we did that together. And then I did some music with another good friend called Femi B in 91. We called ourselves the Bass Bureau, and I got him rapping, and we made tracks together. And then we called another project with him and another toaster called New Jacks and Ivory Ranks. And this was all pre The Shamen. I did the Move Any Mountain rap as a guest vocalist, and that came about because they was doing the mix down, and they asked Paul Oakenfold to do the mix down. And Colin Angus said, well, we want to get a rapper. Who do you suggest? And Paul Oakenfold said, look, if you're going to get a rapper, there's only really one house rapper, and that's Mr. C. He's the one that you've got to get. And they're like, they knew who I was anyway from Clink Street in 1988 and Dungeons in 1989. And Colin's like, oh, why didn't I think of that? So they got the manager, Charles Kosh, who I already knew because I DJ'd at his illegal warehouse parties in 1988 in London. And Charles Kosh is from Glasgow. And he approached me and said, do you want to do this track? It's called Move Any Mountain. I'm like, well, I like the name. Who's the band? He's like, they're called The Shamen. I'm like, well, I like the name of the band. I'd read Carlos Castaneda's The Yako Way of Knowledge, and I was into shamanism. And I like the twist on the word shaman with shaman because there's an E in it. And if you put an E inside, it's always going to improve things. So I like the band. I like the track. I listened to the track and I thought, you know what, it's a bit white. It's not the black music that I'm into, the black house music that I'm into, the black techno that I'm into. It's a bit white, but it's good. And it's got a good groove, and it's got a good energy, and the lyrics are awesome. And being into meditation and positive thinking, I Can Move Any Mountain was exactly my bag as well. I'm like, okay, I'm going to go for this. So I said yes and got involved and went and performed the rap as a guest vocalist. And I said, I'll do this vocal on the condition that you allow me to do the remix as well and do a Mr. C remix. So I did a house music remix that was a bit more in line with my sound, bit deeper, a bit more chilled, yeah. And I redid the vocal for that mix as well, a bit more laid back vocal instead of more in your face, which it was on the main version. And that was it. I didn't really tour much with the band through 1990, 89 and 90, because they were broke and they couldn't pay me the fees that I wanted. Like, I was on £200 a gig as a DJ, and if they were offering me 50 quid to go and rap, it's like, probably not, you know, because I need to eat. I need to pay my keep to my mum. I need to like buy records. I need to, you know, I'm poor. I can't afford to do this gig for 50 when this club is paying me 150. If you can match the 150, 200, then I'll come and do it, which they couldn't at that time. And then it was only after like the band got bigger and basically we redid the video for Move Any Mountain, the same version, Beatmaster's pop version. But they redid the video in Tenerife in May 91, and it was at that point Will and Colin asked me to join the band as a full member because they knew it was going to blow up, and it was, you know, my vocals and my energy helped it. It was a big part of that, and you know, I loved Will, I loved Colin, and you know, I love their attitude. And when they've asked me to join as a full member, that meant I'm on a cut, and that meant, yeah, I'm in, count me in. So from that point on, I was then a full member and at all the concerts and stuff like that. So that was how I got into the band, started off as a guest vocalist and guest producer, and then I got brought in as a full-time member.
Amazing. And then after that came the record that the world spoke about for a while, the Ebenezer Gibbs.
Yeah, well, directly after, it was after we shot the video of Move Any Mountain in Tenerife. The week after, Will Sinnott, the legend, he went to La Gomera, it was a neighboring island, and he drowned. He got pulled under by the Atlantic undercurrent. His girlfriend, who's a very strong swimmer, was out there swimming and told him not to go out. But him being the strong-minded guy he was and a bit macho with it, was like, oh, I'll be all right. And he got dragged under and he drowned. And we almost closed down the band at that point. We was devastated. It was very difficult for me. I'd got to know Will very well, but nobody that I knew Will. You know, I was from a different environment to Will and Colin, you know, so it was difficult for me. I couldn't share it with anyone. And I got resented a little bit up in Scotland, in Glasgow, especially because that's where Will's from, because they saw me as some sort of a replacement, which wasn't true. It was both Will and Colin that asked me to join the band as a full member. And Colin and I received a lot of fan mail, commiserating and sending condolences, and also saying, please, you've got to keep the Shamen together. It's an important band. The lyrics are very important. And Colin, as the founding member, decided to stay on board. He said to me, would I remain? I said, yeah, I'm in. He asked Plavka, who did Hyperreal, Plavka Lonnock, if she would stay in. She said no. So we then went on the hunt for a new singer. And then we found Jaleesa Anderson, and she sung on Love, Sex, Intelligence and Forever People on the Boss Drum album. And then we had our string of massive hits. Obviously, Love, Sex, Intelligence was the first hit, and I think they got to number 4 or number 5. And then Ebenezer Good was a number 1 for a whole month. We became the first band in British pop history to delete a number 1 single whilst at number 1 because it was ruining our release schedule. And then we released Boss Drum, which was another top 5 hit. And then Forever People, which was number 5, Christmas Day, which was huge. And the Boss Drum album went on to become a double platinum selling album. And Colin and I won UK Songwriters of the Year, got the Ivor Novello for that, which is the Ivor Novello's biggest accolade. It's not best album or best soundtrack or best single, it's Songwriters of the Year. And to be in the same list as Lennon and McCartney or the Eurythmics and stuff like that was unreal. So that was brilliant. And yeah, it went from there.
Motivating rhythm of life. Motivating rhythm of life with a healing rhythmic synergy. Motivating rhythm of life.